Look at me, look at me, look at me now. It is fun to have fun, but you have to know how. I can hold up the cup and the milk and the cake. I can hold up these books and the fish on a rick. I can hold the toy boot and a little boy man. And look, with my tail I can hold a red fan. I can fan with a fan as I hop on the ball. But that is not all, oh no, that is not all. This is what the cat said. Then he fell on his head. He came down with a bump from up there on the ball, and Sally and I, we saw all things fall. And a fish came down too. He fell into a pot. He said, "Do you like this?" I said, "Oh no, I do not. This is not a game," said our fish as he lit. "I do not like it, not one little bit."
We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Oh, a forest. A big, dark forest. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no! We've got to go through it.
When the three bears saw what Goldilocks had done to their little cottage, they were hopping mad. Their porridge eaten, chairs broken, beds bounced on. "Go after her. Find out where she lives," ordered Daddy Bear. Baby Bear jumped on his scooter and sped after Goldilocks. In no time at all, he was back. "She lives on the far side of the forest," panted Baby Bear. "And what's more, she's just gone out again and left her door unlocked."
Deep in the countryside lived a widow and her son Jack. Their cottage was crumbling and their clothes were patched. They were very, very poor. One day, Jack's mother said, "We must sell our cow. Take her to market, Jack, and bring home some gold pieces."
Little Nut Brown Hare was going to bed, held on tight to Big Nut Brown Hare's very long ears. He wanted to be sure that Big Nut Brown Hare was listening. "Guess how much I love you," he said. "Oh, I don't think I could guess that," said Big Nut Brown Hare. "This much," said Little Nut Brown Hare, stretching out his arms as wide as they could go. Big Nut Brown Hare had even longer arms. "But I love you this much," he said. That is a lot," thought Little Nut Brown Hare.
Black Beauty. Most people have heard of Black Beauty. It is the name of a famous horse. He first appeared in a book. The book was first published in 1877. It has sold millions of copies since then. It has also been adapted for TV and has been made into 3 films. Black Beauty was never a real horse. He never galloped in real fields or trotted along real roads. He lived in the mind of one person, and her name was Anna Sewell. And this is the story of her life.
Leaving Mrs. Kwan snoring on the couch, Sally Nevins and I crept up the stairs. "I think it came from the closet," I whispered. We tiptoed over, took hold of the handle and jerked open the door. Nothing, just clothes and junk. Then I had a brilliant idea. I leaned in, then threw myself into the closet as if someone had grabbed me. "Conrad," Sally called. She sounded afraid. I grinned and grabbed an old teddy bear I found in the pile. The clothes rustled as Sally poked her way in.
The next day, and the next day, and the next day after that, I smiled at the new boy and gave him a friendly wink, just as often as I could. My goal was to give him at least 40 winks a day, because that's what Mum says everyone needs. But after a while, my eyebrows started to feel funny. I could tell the new boy was finding it interesting because he stopped looking at everyone else and kept looking at me. But then Michael saw me trying to wink with both my eyes, one after the other, and
Harriet sat up, suddenly wide awake. Whatever was that noise? It was rushing, tearing, swishing noise, just the sound a rocket makes on Guy Fawkes night, yet much, much louder. But this was the start of a midsummer day, and she looked at her watch early, not 5 o'clock yet. She leapt out of bed and ran to the window.
In fairy tales, witches always wear silly black hats and black cloaks, and they ride on broomsticks. But this is not a fairy tale. This is about real witches. The most important thing you should know about real witches is this. Listen very carefully. Never forget what is coming next. Real witches dress in ordinary clothes and look very much like ordinary women. They live in ordinary houses and they work in ordinary jobs. That is why they are so hard to catch.
Nanny, Nanny, she shouted out loud. Then in a low voice whispered, "You're all right now, you spalpeens. I've sent them on a wild goose chase. Come out of there quick and we'll go back to my place." They could hardly believe their ears or eyes. They were stiff and sore and still had to keep low until they came to Mary Kate's cottage. She pushed them inside and then closed the door.
"What's that noise?" said Mrs. Hoggett, sticking her comfortable round red face out of the kitchen window. "Listen, there 'tis again. Did you hear it? What a racket, what a row. Anyone would think someone was being murdered. Oh dearie me, whatever is it? Just listen to it, will you?" Farmer Hoggett listened. From the usually quiet valley below the farm came a medley of sounds. The papa of a brass band, the shouts of children, the rattle and thump of a skittle alley, and every now and then a very high, very loud, very angry sounding squealing, lasting perhaps 10 seconds.
In half a minute, it was the size of a melon. In another half minute, it was twice as big again. "Just look at it growing," Aunt Spiker cried. "Will it ever stop?" Aunt Sponge shouted, waving her fat arms and starting to dance around in circles. And now it was so big it looked like an enormous butter-coloured pumpkin dangling from the top of the tree. "Get away from that tree trunk, you stupid boy," Aunt Spiker yelled. "The slightest shake and I'm sure it'll fall off. It must weigh 20 or 30 pounds at least." The branch that the peach was growing upon was beginning to bend over further and further because of it.
Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal, thank you very much. They were the last people you'd expect to be involved in anything strange or mysterious because they just didn't hold with such nonsense. Mr. Dursley was the director of a firm called Grunnings, which made drills. He was a big, beefy man with hardly any neck, although he did have a very large moustache.